There's this role in the tech and business world that is in huge demand, but honestly, a lot of people can't quite put their finger on what it is. And as companies lean more and more on technology to solve their problems, the need for this role has just exploded. So today we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify the business analyst.
So, what does a business analyst actually do? I mean, you see the title all over job boards, you hear about the great salaries, but the day-to-day work, it can feel pretty vague, right? Well, let's clear all of that up right now. And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's this booming field, but the role itself can feel like a bit of a mystery. So in this explainer, we're going to cover exactly what a BA is, what their day-to-day looks like, the skills you absolutely need, and we'll even give you a 90-day plan to get started. All right, let's dive right in and demystify this role once and for all. What is the absolute core function of a business analyst? At its very core, a business analyst is a bridge. It's that simple. They connect the business side of things, the people who have a problem or a goal, with the technical teams who are going to build the solution. You can think of them as expert translators, turning a business need into crystal clear instructions the developers can actually build from.
I love this analogy. A BA is like a doctor for a business. First, they diagnose the problem by talking to everyone involved. Then they prescribe a solution. Maybe it's a new software feature. Maybe it's a whole new process. And then they follow up to make sure the treatment actually worked. It's a perfect way to think about it.
Okay, so that's the big picture idea, but what does this job actually look like in practice? Let's take a look at how a BA's responsibilities change and grow as they move up in their career.
When you're just starting out as a junior BA, your world is all about learning and supporting the team. You're taking notes, you're documenting requirements, and you're working on smaller, well-defined tasks. Then, as you hit that mid-level, you start to own entire projects. You're leading workshops, you're doing your own analysis. And finally, as a senior BA, your focus gets way more strategic. You're guiding huge initiatives, you're mentoring the junior folks, and you're helping decide what problems the business should even be trying to solve in the first place.
Now that we know what a BA does, what do you actually need in your toolkit to be successful? Let's break down the must-have skills and the essential tools for the job. So first up, let's talk about the foundational skills. And this isn't just about tech, not at all. You have to be a really sharp analytical and critical thinker. You've got to love breaking down complex problems. But just as important is how you work with people, managing stakeholders, communicating clearly, and yeah, even negotiating between different teams that might want completely different things.
And of course, here are the tools of the trade. You absolutely have to be comfortable in a spreadsheet like Excel, basic SQL for pulling data. That's essential. You'll use BI tools like Power BI or Tableau to make that data easy to understand, and then project tools like Jira and Confluence to document and track everything. Just getting familiar with these is a huge first step.
Now, if that last slide made you a little nervous, just remember this. You do not need to be a hardcore coder. You're not writing production code. The real key here is just being comfortable with data, with logic, and with applying structured thinking to solve problems. That's the mindset.
So where can this role actually take you? Well, the great news is that starting as a business analyst is an incredible launchpad for a ton of different careers. Let's look at some of the paths you could take.
You have so many options. You can, of course, grow right within the BA track, becoming a lead BA or a manager. Or you can pivot into really similar roles, like a product manager or a project manager. And because you get such a deep understanding of how the entire business works, a lot of senior BAs eventually move into high-level leadership, like a director, VP, or even a COO. All right, so if you're sitting there thinking, okay, I'm sold, how do I start? This next section is for you. We've put together a super practical, totally actionable plan to help you launch your journey into becoming a BA.
We've broken this down into 3 simple 30-day sprints. In your first month, just focus on the theory. Understand the big ideas, like the software development lifecycle and user stories. In the second month, it's time to get your hands dirty with the tools we talked about, Excel, some basic SQL, and pick one BI tool to learn. Then, in the final month, you apply it all. Build a couple of small case studies that you can actually put on your resume to prove you can do the work.
So there you have it, the business analyst role, completely demystified. If you found this breakdown helpful, do me a favor and let us know by typing BA in the comments below, and definitely subscribe to the Career Growth Show for more explainers just like this one.
And one last thought. The very best careers are often found right where business and technology meet. If you know someone who's trying to find that sweet spot, who's a little confused about their next move, share this with them. You might just help them find their path.
Thanks for tuning in.